morning, Central Texas. Welcome to KISS Community Connections, 103.1 KISS FM. I'm Phyllis Jones, your host for this morning. And you know what? I'm not happy because it's getting warm outside. I didn't get my 35 degrees. I didn't get my Yankee snow. You heard me right. I know Texas snow. I didn't get no real snow, so I'm not happy these days because I can't wear my gloves and my hat and all that. But, you know, I guess I have to be okay. You know, this morning I picked a tough topic, but I picked it for a reason. And the reason is not to pick on anybody. It's to explain where we are and what we're doing. And my topic began as, we need our men to stand up so we can sit down. And I'm using this topic not as a bashing topic, but as a tough topic. And I'm going to give my topic some history. First of all, I have 3 guests that are phenomenally great. And it was supposed to be equal number of males and females, but it didn't happen that way. But it's okay that it didn't happen that way. So I want my guests to introduce themselves, and then I'll go into the history of my topic. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Modtrice Ford.
And what do you do?
I'm a real estate agent in the Fort Hood area. I'm also the vice president of LULAC.
Okay.
LULAC Herencia 4297.
Okay, some people don't know what LULAC stands for.
Okay, it's the League of United Latin American Citizens.
Okay.
And I'm Brother Tavares. I'm one of the co-founders of Freedom Ties, which is an online shopping platform that uses as a business model 50% of our monthly proceeds go towards assisting charitable causes inside of our community. I'm also a student of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Mohammed, and I have with me today, I have Brother Chicago, Devon Durr, and also my son, Brother Jalil Al-Hadi Malik, who is a aspiring athlete and a scholar in his own right, honor student in the IB program at Killeen Senior High.
I like that. Okay, I like when I hear young people doing good and going somewhere, because you run into too many who say, I ask them where they're going, and they give me the and I still don't know what I mean, but anyway, that's what I get. Yeah, you don't know what that means. Okay, now for that topic. The reason I picked this topic is because today, right now, I'm sick of 400 years of the same thing. And they're looking at 400 years. Yeah, 400 years of the same thing. You know, we women, and we're strong. We know we are. And we know we got that. We know we do. But then we get criticized for having that sometimes. And what I mean by that is that strength and that power that we possess. But we were put in that place because somebody had to do it. So someone had to be in that place, so we took it up. And I'm going back in history, yes, because I got to go back to bring us forward to understand where I'm going. During the times of slavery, when the oppressor was going to whoop the man, woman stepped up and agreed to go to bed with him so that man wouldn't get whooped, which put who in charge? Her. It made at that point, she became a little higher than he did. She saved him. Well, she did what she's supposed to do. She did what she knew to do, but it wasn't what she wanted to do. So throughout our years of change, after slavery, that became, where we thought we were going to be getting jobs. You hear I said thought. And our men who were warriors assumed that they were going to have enough money to take care of the family. Well, no, something else came along, came Jim Crow. So our men were forced back into a society of slavery in a different way, being in prison and being on this workforce thing, where they had to go to work, still be enslaved, and they never got paid to get it out. So women had to learn to get a job because she had to take care of the family, which is another place that she wasn't ready to be in. But guess what? She did it. So women did that. Throughout the time after Jim Crow, it became plain old prison, just out and out prison, imprisoning our men, and women taking control again. So that meant you had women growing up in a household of women controlled by women. So what did she grow up to be? A strong woman. So today, it's still going on because, women, first of all, took jobs, not careers, jobs as maids to bring a little extra money into the house. She did that. So y'all following me so far, my guess? Mm-hmm. All right, so she brought a little extra money in the house because he wasn't making enough money because society wasn't ready for him to be rich. They wasn't ready for that. They was ready for him to still stay dependent. Well, women eventually got sick of being maids, and they did something unknown. Nobody expected. They got careers. Oh, my gosh. So they started climbing the ladder of careers, but the men weren't climbing as fast as the women were because they couldn't. They were being held back because in order to control the family, you control the man. So women were allowed to grow, and not get real high, but we were allowed to grow. We became stronger. So now we're at the point of men saying if women could try to wear the pants, they could take charge. But what they need to remember is some of us are from generations of this is what it was. Woman was in charge in the house. She got to control. And it's hard to relinquish control to someone that you know for 400 years didn't have it in the first place. Didn't really have it in the first place. So it's very hard sometimes for some women to say, do what? You got to be kidding. I got this. But men need to understand too that sometimes that I got this came from history and not just because she woke up one morning and said, I got this. So my question is, we've been dealing with this for too long. It is, and it's crushing today. It's been crushing for years, but it's crushing today because you do have women being a little bit stronger than they need to be, but if that's all they know, that's all you do. So today, we need to fix that. So, Brother Tavares, we need to fix that.
Because I was really ready to allow you to speak. Right? But first,
she got me first.
Yeah. Oh, I don't mind. But like I would like to say first, thank you, Miss Phyllis, for allowing me to come on to your show. You have a wonderful platform, and it reaches so many individuals in this environment, and the information is so critical and timely as we think to the condition, or we speak to the condition of the Black experience. I also would like to thank your listeners, those individuals who are coming out right now and that are listening. And I hope that the things that we can share over the next few minutes, it could really impact the way that we perceive our reality, because that's what we're talking about now. We're talking about the perception of our experience, and because we understand that experiential learning is what's going to shape or lay the foundation for the way that we interpret our reality. And so when we look at Black men in particular, and we ask ourselves, when is the Black man going to stand in order to be able to allow our woman to assume, or rather, we would say ascend to her natural role, because we're taught that a nation can rise no higher than its woman. Right. And so we understand that in the current construct of our society, our woman having to, bear the burden of the responsibilities of the family, it really, although she assumes a position of strength, really she's not empowered, because that's not her natural function. Her natural function is to serve as the foundational instructor for our children. And if she could serve as the foundational instructor for our children in her more appropriate role, then she could create a reality that would give rise to a condition where the man could stand. But we have to understand that no man that is on the planet, nor that has ever come on the planet, came of his own will, but he comes through the vessel that is the woman. But if the woman doesn't have a construct in her brain that facilitates our evolution, then she creates what we see today in society. She shapes the society the way we see it. So what it requires for us is for us to have an experience with a man. I was having a conversation with my mother one time, because we experienced a lot of males. You're gonna have to turn that thing straight up. We was having a conversation in our environment. We grew up and we experienced a lot of males, but in my entire life, I don't think that I had ever experienced a man. And I had a father that was very active in my life. However, that individual, as active as he was in my life, he still didn't conduct himself as a man, because then we have to ask ourselves, what's the role and the function of a man, so that way we can give rise to the definition of what a man does. And we haven't experienced a Black man in our society, I would say, until, the coming of Master Father Mohammed and the raising of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the students of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as we see represented to us today in the personage of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's the first time that I had an opportunity to really experience a man that operates with power and dominion, that makes decisions and that does things in order to create conditions better for us in society. So now our responsibility is to come away from our childish thoughts that prevent us from being able to acknowledge the presence of men in our environment, and then pattern our behavior after those men. And so that's why I brought my son with me today, because as I aspire towards being a better man today, I want to be able to show forth the product. So sister, you don't got to worry whether or not we gonna stand so you can release the reins. Hey, we producing what's going to be able to usher in a new reality for us as far as the construct of the man. But what I would say is don't release the reins. Please don't. Hey, please don't. You know why? Because if we was riding on a stagecoach, one of them 8-horse trains, and you release them reins, man, them horses gonna go crazy and we'll lose control. But what we should see now more so is a mutual partnership in which now instead of you releasing the reins, let me take one from you. You see what I'm saying? Right. And then as we get in control of this cargo train, then let me take the other one. So then you can just ride. Because I love to drive. My wife don't have to drive nowhere. We go from here all the way to South Carolina. I'm 13. I'm 16 hours straight with it, nonstop, no sleep.
Okay, you ready, lady?
Wow. And I agree. It's because of the environment that we grew up in. And I say we because I grew up in that environment where my mother was basically the head of the household. Right. You know, she worked. My stepdad, he worked, but he worked because my mom told him to work.
There you go.
You know,
right, yeah.
She took care of the bills and she made sure the house was in order. So, you know, a lot of people that grew up the way that I did, or a lot of people that grew up the way that we did, they grew up seeing this and seeing the man. I don't want to say it's going to sound harsh, more as a commodity.
Well, yeah, okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I see it now, even now, you know, years later, where you see females struggling and they're going to school and they're doing everything that they can do, you know, and they're looking for that strong man, but they don't know where to look, or they don't know if he's out there.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because you grew up so long with this idea of the strong woman, and the strong black man was nowhere in existence. So, you know, I'm glad to meet you, sir. Good to meet you. And that's the way it is, you know, when you grow up. I can't say me personally, I've been married 15 years, but we've had our struggles because, you know, my husband was in the same deal. You know, he grew up seeing the strong black woman and didn't know what a strong black man was. So we've had to learn this together, right? You know, and I would say, I'm still you know, but you know, slowly, you can allow, you know, him to take over, but it's going to take a while, I think. Yes. And that's my thought on it.
I agree, and if I could say, if we think where we're at, this freedom thing is new. This education thing for us is new. You know, we just got released from slavery in 1865, and we just attained civil rights in 1965. So this is an entirely new concept. We're the first children, you know, I got here in 1975. We're the first children that have been born with civil rights. So this whole concept is a new concept. This, a man being a man. I was having a conversation with my wife one day, and I said, man, we can't even imagine what it felt like to be our grandfather, 5, 6, 10 children in the house, not really empowered. You know what I'm saying? Well, this man, he's supposed to be a man, but he don't know how to be a man, because being a man, that's a new concept. So he go out, he work, he don't really have a concept of what being a man is. He doing the best that he can. So when he come home and he run into that strong woman who is managing 10 children, really she's a supervisor. She's operating at a managerial level. So when she come home, when he come into this environment with this illusion of masculinity, and she's manifesting the dominant characteristics of God by managing 10 children, and she starts to make requests of this man, he don't want to hear that. So he's slapping upside the head and he beating on him because he ain't not matured. So we're the first generation, a group of people that now have to manifest those particular skills and qualities. So that's beautiful. 15 years give you an opportunity to give that man a body of work to evolve what that man concept would be for our particular social construct. And so we, at the beginning, we got to always keep in mind, when we get frustrated with our condition, we got to always remember that right now we find ourselves in the Genesis, where God is creating a man according to his image and according to his likeness. Because I'm pretty sure that he ain't like us the way we was before. So now, no, not at all. So now we got to recreate our ourselves into that mold or fashion ourselves into the shape of something that's beautiful to the eyesight of God, where we loving our women and where we supporting our children, where we bringing honor to our parents, because we ain't doing it. We ain't been doing it. So I feel the pain of the woman in our society, because I used to be no good, low down, dirty, dastardly, sorry as all outdoors. Hey, and I'm trying every day to do a little bit better, man. I'm telling you, it's just a little bit better.
You know, when I grew up, I said in a tough house, because I grew up with a father from Africa. Yeah, that's it right there. That was it right there. And my mother was not. My mother is an American. My dad hated Americans. I'm not gonna say dislike. He hated them because he said, as American, he said those African American people, because he was African. So he said those African American people don't know what it's really like. He said they're not really true. And I grew up. I used to ask him, why not? He said, because we are warriors. We fight. We fight to death. He said, if we've got to die for it, we die for it, but we fight. He said, these African American men don't know what that is. You know, and I didn't understand what he was saying until later on when I grew up. I'm like, okay, I understood. Because he ruled the house. My dad ruled the house. There were certain things that I won't say on the radio I was not allowed to do. There are certain people I was not allowed to associate with. There were certain things I just couldn't do. He explained, he said, because you're an African child and this is what you would not be doing. My father passed away when I got older. So for me, I was like, okay, wait a minute, hold up. You know, for me, I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. What the heck am I going to do now? Because I'm thinking that, you know, boom. So I had a mother and a housekeeper. But my grandfather actually ran the entire family. And he ran the family with a rule. First of all, we were all in school. All the grandchildren were in school. If we bought a bee home on a report card, our parents couldn't see our report card first. Grandfather had to see your report card first. And you had to explain the bee. If you could not explain the bee, he took you in his car to your house, you packed your clothes, and you had to stay with him. In the morning, he had a grandchildren's garden, and we didn't know why it was called the grandchildren's garden until you got a bee and had to stay at his house and learned that in the morning, you had to go get that garden gear, get your work done, eat your breakfast, and go to school until you brought the bee up. So, I grew up with that. So with that man mentality, when I got married, that's what I was like, okay, this is what a man is, because I knew. And then when that never happened, I'm like, hold up, something's really wrong with this picture. He's one of those people my dad talked about. I said, I told him, I said, you one of those people my dad used to talk about. He said, what? I said, that African-American who doesn't know what it is to be an African. He said, so y'all didn't deserve to have that name of African-American. He said, y'all should have took the African off because y'all not warriors. You know, he said, what about his village who, to become a man, they had to go out with a spear and kill an animal and bring it back. You know, he said the average man, he said the quote unquote African Americans, you give them a spear and they will come back with the spear with nothing on it and no animal. Said I couldn't find one. He saw they would die from being lost in the wilderness, eaten by the animal. So I grew up in that household. So for me, you know, I know what a man is supposed to be and do, you know, but when you look around, you go, okay, fine. What my father was, none of these men are. What my grandfather was, none of these men are. So that sends a woman into, like me, to being not I'll say a control freak, but like, you know what, hold up. Let me ask you a few questions. If you can't answer these following questions, you need to go away. You know, so, and then, but some men take that a negative way because they are not true African men. They're, as I'll say, my dad said, African American men. So I was like, ugh. So I learned that to be a difference. And is that a struggle? Yeah, it is, because I still say he got to be in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. But Mr. Chicago, you're the younger one of the bunch. Who he thought he wasn't gonna have nothing to say. Good morning. How you doing?
Just be the cameraman.
So how you fit into this scheme? Because you're the younger one. You see what I'm? You're the newer generation.
Okay.
So what do you think about when the men gonna stand up so the women can let the reins go just a little bit?
What do I think about?
What do you think when the man gonna stand up? What's gonna happen? Because we've been fighting the same stand-up issue since Africans were bought here and became slaves.
Well, I give you my outlook on it.
That's what we want. Yeah.
I was raised without a father.
Okay.
You know, my dad was a big time dope dealer. You know, been from Chicago. He was in and out of jail. Only time I seen him when he was out of jail. Mm-hmm. You know, he throw me some money and, you know, keep it pushing. So growing up, I didn't have that. I didn't know what it was to be a man. When I say I literally went out and found me a father, I went out and found a man that I thought was, you know, that I wanted to mirror myself around and be like. And that man accepted me at the age of 13, and that's my father to the day. You actually met him. That's what
okay. Well, I talked to on the phone. Okay.
So that's my father. So, growing up, and I shared this with Brother Tavares. Growing up, you know, when the situation came about with the mother of my child and I had a child, I didn't know how to be a man or be a father. You know, so I faltered a lot. You know, I faltered a lot where I'm just thinking the man, I'm supposed to make the money and that's it. You know, I make the money, you take care of the house, that's it. You know, that's what I thought the man was supposed to do. It's more to it when it comes to being a man in the household. A man is supposed to nurture that household, nurture that wife, nurture that woman of the house to be able to, you know, sustain the household. You know, it's a lot that goes on with being the man of the household, and the monetary value is not always the outlook on it. It plays a big role, you know, because you can't be a man and not provide, you know, but there's more to it, you know, and when people wake up and realize that when fathers like myself, that's why I'm so adamant about being in my daughter's life, because I know that I needed my dad coming up and I didn't have him, and I faltered as an adult, you know, not having my dad, you know, so I know that kids need their fathers, you know, so I work to be the best dad that I can be every day, you know, and I work to surround myself, the group of brothers that I'm around and the young guys that are my age, you know. I've actually lost a lot of friends since I became a dad, you know. The way I look at being a dad, they didn't look at it that way, you know, and I'm just like, yo, I can't rock with you because, you know, you're not a dad. You cool, I love you, brother, but I can't rock with you because you don't have the mentality of a father, you know, and that stems from with me. They didn't have dads coming up, but they had dads running in and out of their life, you know, and it just comes to a point where men got to step up and understand. But before I say that, again, that goes back to just walking out a kid's life. My ideology is that goes back to slavery time, when men were just used to procreate and just go to another plantation and leave that kid, you know. So that's the mindset that men have, that I think that they think it's okay, you know, to just walk off and leave a kid. So I say all of that to say that when men start realizing that being a father is the most important thing, you know, then everything else will shape up and form and turn around, and men will step up and women can sit down.
Hold on, wait, sitting down.
How do you think
you all have, but go ahead, wait a minute. Okay, but you know, as you said, sit down somewhere. You know what? We've been standing for too long. We don't want to sit down because we don't trust that y'all know what to do.
Why is it hard?
Because you all have a history. And we don't.
But we really don't have a history.
Well, not what I mean is
we really don't have a history. What we have is we have experiences supported by our slave past.
Yeah.
Right. So we've never really seen what a black man would do because we don't have that experience. So I would, and like I tell you, I don't support saying, hey, woman, go sit down somewhere, because I was raised in a household where for time periods I remember my parents being married. I stayed with my father for a period of my childhood. I stayed with my mother for a period of my childhood and into my adult life. And I saw the struggle and the things that happened as a result of the experiences that they was coming up. My mom from South Carolina, you know what I'm saying? She from deep, the sticks is when we go back to where she from. They call it the sticks. Actually, my wife and my mom from the same city. But that the construct of that society, man, it's just, it is what it is. But I will say before you ask your question, a lot of times we see the woman and she make demands and she wants this as a man. She wants this. She have in her mind an idea of what she think a man is, but where did she get that from and what shaped that? You know what I'm saying? A lot of our women, they want Badu treatment, but they don't want to practice Baduism. You know what I'm saying? Hey, they don't want to practice Baduism. It's levels to this. It's something you gotta do. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
okay.
Well, my question was going to be, you know, how do we get to where we reach those young men, like, you know, he was saying, before they get into that situation where they're confronted with what is a father, what is a real man. Because, you know, that situation where growing up in a household where the woman is basically the head of the household is still going on.
Yes.
You don't have men taking boys aside and saying, hey, this is what a man is supposed to do. And I agree, it's hard for them because they don't know themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so how do we get from where we are now to
Okay, I'm gonna answer that.
Oh, I actually what?
I'm gonna answer her. Then you can. Okay, if everybody who's listening, you all know me. I'm not I hate meetings. They drive me crazy. I'm an action. I'll meet with you for a few minutes, then I'm gonna go do what we're supposed to go do, because I can't deal with meetings. I'm an ADD adult and I can't deal with them because I don't see where they're going. To me, a meeting has to tell me where it's going right now, then I'm good. Mm-hmm. So with this conversation, and I'm gonna mention his name, Mr. David Woodbury has community schools at East Ward. He has a gentleman's group, and they're 4th and 5th grade boys. 2 years ago, I think it was out 2 years ago, I had the boys on my show to talk about what they see. And they saw things that you wouldn't know that they would see. And I paired them up with some men to talk to. Next month, there's a group of boys, and I use Mr. Woodbury because he's the only person I know that every day, he's with these group of boys teaching them how to be men, how to dress, how to look. If he walks down the hall of Eastwood, every boy in there gonna pull up his pants. Okay, what color the boys are? They pull up their pants. That's how fixing their shirts. Language changes, and all he does is walk down the hall without talking. He's walked down the hall. So to me, he's a man. He's commanding respect, and those boys know already. Don't let Mr. And if he walk in someone's classroom because he need to talk to one of them, they all sitting there like, who we gonna come talk to? Who is it? You know, because to them it's a fear right now. Oh my God, is it me? What did I do? But he has that, so I always work with him because of what he does. So next month, for the entire month of April, it's gonna be donated to these young boys, and they're gonna talk about what they see, what they feel, because to me that's where you begin. My expectation, and I'm not saying what I want. My expectation is for a group of men to meet these young boys where they are, meet them mentally where they are, and bring them up. Because you can't meet a 10-year-old boy with a 40-year-old brain. You got to meet him where he is to bring him up. So my expectation is the next month, and men of all color meet with me and those young boys and spend not a day, but an hour at first with them to find out what you can do. What can you say? Show them how men actually dress. Some of these boys only see men in suits when they go into a funeral. Mm. Some don't see them in suits then. You know, so that's where I'm starting at for me, because at 9 and 10, kids are old enough to actually know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? They might not know the big picture of what they just said. They know the little picture, but we know the bigger picture of what they just said. So for me, I'm doing what you said next month. And I also let you know what I did that following year. I invited a group of girls come on. 4th and 5th grade girls. These girls are ruthless. They were, because they talked about, one girl, she says, now how this woman gonna come up and get her kid every day and she on her cell phone? And then she get in the car with the kid, she on the cell phone. How was your day? How she know what the girl said? Because she on her cell phone. I'm like, whoa. Oh, I mean, she would, you know, I was like, oh, I felt that. Wow. But you know what? This is what they see. And she said, women walking around talking about how young girls look at them, butt hanging out their skirt. I'm like, oh. And, you know, everybody said, why you let them say that? Because this is what they see. And people said, well, that hurts. I don't care. This is what they see. That's the truth. Yes. I said, so you know what? It's time out for you to say, oh, they're hurting my feelings. No, it's time for you to shake your head and say, okay, well, we got to fix this. I said, because if this group of kids see it, then imagine the other groups of kids who see it.
Well, that's where it goes from. That's what, to answer your question, sister, that's where it goes from. To get to the young people, it's a lot of things goes on what's portrayed on TV. You know what I'm saying? On TV since that side. Mm-hmm. When you go on TV, you got who got these rappers? You got Future. You know what I'm saying? You got all these people out here that portraying the image. You know what I'm saying, to these young boys. Where I was talking to a lady last night. She told me she got an 11-year-old son, and she said that her son, all he want when she get her income taxes back is some a grilled teeth set, a gold chain. You know, and I tell her, I say, so she got to get that young boy out of that materialistic mentality. You know, but then I'm like, okay, he's 11. It's what he sees on TV, you know, it's what he portrays on TV. So I say that to say, to get a hold to me, as a young kid, I think being from Chicago, you know, I gangbanged and did all of that. But the biggest thing was I had influential people I can remember from school. I had a teacher, Mr. Asiambi. He was my homeroom teacher. You know, he dressed sharp. You know, every single day he would dress sharp. I liked the way he dressed, kept his hair cut. Every day he was sharp, you know, and that was my idol. I want to dress like Mr. Asiami. So I used to put Vaseline on my dress shoes in the morning, so my shoes could be shiny like Mr. Asiami. You know, that was that was the influential person around me at that time. When they went to high school, I went to a military high school, so I was around ROTC. You know, so ROTC is militant, you know, well dressed. You know, so that's what I was around. I still was in the gang banging things and everything because that's what I was around as well. But I adapted more to the influential things than the uninfluential things. You know, and that was just my mindset. But everybody don't have that mindset. So to get to these young boys, what we must do is bring people. When I moved to Killeen and met brothers like Brother Tavares and Brother Daryl and them, clean, dress sharp, you know what I'm saying? I was already, you know what I'm saying, a Muslim. But this right here just solidified where I need to be. All of my life here, you know what I'm saying, I've been around clean, dressed, sharp men, you know what I'm saying? This solidifies where I need to be, you know? So we just got to get the message out there that, you know, these rappers, these thug wannabes, that image that they're portraying, that's not life. That's not life. That right there is it's a game. You know what I'm saying? It's a game. They're playing a game, you know, because real life, you know, that's a whole nother topic. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go into that. But we have to watch what these young brothers and sisters are watching and what they are putting in their head, you know, and what they want to follow, you know. If I feel that, you know, being a follower of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I feel that, you know, if we get more believers into the nation here, you know what I'm saying, to get what we got going, Brother Tavares, I feel that if we see, as somebody tell me yesterday, if I see 20, I say, what you gonna do? I'm talking to one of my brothers, a street brother. I say, what you gonna do when we got 100 brothers? I come down the street with 100 brothers in bow ties and we all march in unison. What you gonna do? You know what his answer was? I'm gonna follow suit right in y'all. I'm gonna go get me a bow tie to suit. I'm gonna follow suit right in y'all. Because somebody's doing something right, but have all these people in them. So that's we just gotta get a good image out here to these young brothers at Eastwood and everything, and let them know that it's great influential people out there. Look at this brother. You think he's some business owner or something?